Let's be real, we have to talk about this because of where we're living. Can men and women be just friends? Now, before you get into it, before you get into it, I think the first thing that we should define, from our perspectives at least, is what do you think being friends is?
That's being friends is just someone you want to have around you. You like the company. I mean, everybody defines friends in a different way. I think it's just mutual understanding between two people, having a laugh together, helping each other, supporting each other. I mean, those are friends. You know, you could be childhood friends because the commonality there is that you grew up together. I think there's many different ways to define a friend. What do you think?
I guess in one word, a companion.
Yeah, 100%.
Someone, a companion who's there in times of need,
by your
times
side.
of distress, exactly. When you need help, when you need just someone, to share a secret with.
Yeah.
Sometimes we share secrets with friends that we can't even share with members of family or elders of our community.
When we talk about female companions there as well, or what's the...
That's a different thing. That's where I guess the debate is. Can men and women be just friends? Now there is one side of it which says yes, but within a limit. For example, work colleagues, school, college, university, mates, I don't know, classmates or partners in a
project or
on a project in a lab, chemistry, whatever depending on what you study. I guess here there is some flexibility because otherwise you can literally not complete your term without interacting with students, without doing your group study or whatever. To a certain extent, I see some flexibility here because at work you have to speak with them. It's not that you cannot speak with them or totally avoid them. Outside of work, outside of school, maybe practically it's not possible. Theoretically, some people may argue that theoretically speaking, yes, it's possible, but practically, I don't see it as a possibility. What do you think?
My turn now, eh? Yeah, it's a tough one, really. I do get, where the brother's coming from. I do tend to agree. I think for women, for you to be friends with women, with girls, you don't have to be. I think it's important not to be attracted to them. Because if you're attracted to them...
You can't really help that though, can you, bro? If you're attracted, you're attracted.
Well, once you know that you're attracted to them, even if you're a responsible person, again, going back to, you have a certain responsibility, then you need to sort of do something to make sure you don't fall into sin. You don't mislead someone. You don't fall deeper into someone. And that's your responsibility. And it's easier said than done, because perhaps, what the heart wants, and the beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
This is what I meant when I said practically it may not be possible.
Exactly.
Because it's very difficult.
Yeah, 100%.
Within those limits you're talking about, usually we would call these people our classmates, our colleagues, whoever it is, but do you think it's okay to have some kind of personal relationship with them, not in the sense for the sake of it, like go out of your way to have a casual conversation, but do you think it's cool to speak to them and get advice, or do you think you should just keep it work-related?
Again, yeah, my turn again, isn't it? Yes, you can, but it depends on what status you're in. Meaning, are you single? Are you married? Are you looking for marriage? So if you want to get to know someone because you're attracted and you're a single man, I don't see anything wrong with that. Just don't do anything that is outside the boundaries, for example.
Religion, yeah.
And that's it. And you are wanting to get to know someone. You have every right to get to know someone. And apparently, I've been told, and perhaps you can correct me if I'm wrong, hijabi women, hijabi girls in our society, they can, for marriage purposes, you can actually see them without hijab.
Yeah, some scholars have said so.
Is that like controversial? Is that like because it's for marriage purposes? Like you're actually going through the process. Meaning, it has to be real. It can't be like, oh, this is my.
Show me a picture, homie.
Yeah, exactly. I can see you because I might marry you one day. No, it's not like that.
I'm not sure to what extent you can take it to, but for the sake of marriage, I think majority of scholars do
allow this.
Allow maybe once. I think I don't want to say much on it because I haven't looked
Quick
into
Snapchat make me, you know,
Quick
because they'll be
Snapchat.
deleted afterwards
But,
or
this,
something.
but the issue of marriage is only a minority one within the situation. We're talking about boys and girls in general, because let's be real, you grow up, you go to school, you go to college, you go to university, you're not considering half these girls for marriage, you're probably not considering any of them, but you're around them.
I don't know, up to 4 is allowed. No, I'm just joking. 100%, yeah. I mean, it's not practical. You know, you're not going to... Your parents probably have somebody ready for you anyway, so there's no point. It's a tricky one. You see, I'm not quite sure what to say. I have to be careful what comes out.
I think, if I remember correctly, I was reading a research study once by a non-Muslim.
Okay.
And I guess the conclusion was that practically it's impossible for a man to be just friends with a woman. At the end of the study, this is what they concluded. Because of the reasons, for example, you mentioned. Because of the whole desire. Because desire is natural. It's inside a man,
Sure.
it's inside a woman, you know, it's everything. Allah has placed this in us, but it is what we do with that desire. You know, which road we take. Do we take the halal route or do we take the haram route? Or do we just waste time, for example?
Now that makes a lot more sense. Now you can have, I guess, friendship with the opposite sex that you are perhaps attracted to. But if you know that you are never going to get with this person in a legitimate relationship, control yourself. Don't mislead either yourself into believing that you can or you really like her and you want to just go out with her and have fun and what have you. Control your desires or channel them accordingly. Now, if you're married and you're working around certain colleagues, or if you are studying part-time as well, and obviously, you know, there's women everywhere, right? And now I'm going to ask you another question, which I'm not sure about. Is it actually? I don't know if I should ask.
Before you ask that question, just to clarify, you're not telling boys to be players.
No, of course not. I mean, I think forget about religion, but in any society, a player is shunned upon. You know, players looked down upon.
Are they?
Someone who just literally does play around every week. He has someone else. I don't think he's respected. Perhaps on the outside, he's deemed as being cool and, you know, with it and what have you.
His circle of friends.
Amongst his circle of friends. But if you ask other people, they'll be like, no, he's a dog. You know, literally, they'll say he's a dog, and that makes sense. You know, I think people do respect good behavior, responsible people. You know, people with a sound mind and who make the right decision. So yeah, players should not be respected, in my opinion, anyway. And I think they're not. Superficially, maybe, because they're with the in crowd, they're the popular ones.
But to be fair, just going back to relationships, I think a lot of boys at that young age, they're not actually ready for relationships. Or even if you're sticking to one, to be honest, bro, I don't think you understand what it takes to be with someone. And because of your hormones, you might not be thinking straight. So even if your intentions are good, you might end up just hurting that girl rather than being good to her. So I think it's more of a case of controlling yourself.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's funny because I watched a video years back, and they were asking all the girls, do you think men, you can just be friends? And they're like, yeah, of course we can. And they ask all the guys, and they're like, nah.
that does make sense. Like
Shows you the gender difference, how different genders think.
Exactly. Yeah, and like you said, they're just learning about themselves at that very young, age, and
it's not easy because we've grown up in this society. You're bombarded with all these sexual images.
Oh yeah.
It's all about your carnal desires. And because of the whole thing of masculinity, you're not taught to look at a woman as someone who's your equal, but just someone who you take from rather than someone who you give to.
Sure.
I think even in the Islamic countries, in the East, in our backgrounds where we are from, it doesn't really exist. Friendship between man and women doesn't exist much.
Yeah,
it's almost the opposite extreme in some of the Islamic countries. Yeah. You'll have people who, for example, a woman could be walking with a full hijab, the abaya, and she'll still get stares because these guys have never spoken to a woman in their life.
True. Oh yeah, and I totally get what the brother's saying. For example, when I went back to Pakistan once, and I just walked into a room. I didn't know who was there, who wasn't there. And the girls there, maybe it's one or two, they just walked out. Because that there was a man in there. That's it. Just because I was there, they walked out, and that's their culture and that's their upbringing. That tells you that there's no such thing as friendship between a man and a woman, non-mahram, obviously.
Well, Islamically speaking, I guess if I'm not wrong, the answer would be no.
If it's a typical Western definition of, because there's two ways you can look at it. The way I grew up was the definition of friends is someone something you have in common with, you spend time with them, you have casual conversations with them, you do whatever you want with them. Now let's be real, guys. Because from an Islamic perspective, when you're looking for a wife, they tell you don't go for looks, even though it's important, but look at personality. Now imagine you're spending time with girls or just one girl, and you may not necessarily find her attractive to begin with. But if you have all that stuff in common with her, let's be real, you are going to find yourself attractive.
I was just about to say the same exact thing. I mean, if you, at first, you don't like how she looks, not that you're being judgmental or anything, but later on you realize, oh my gosh, she likes the same movies as I do, same TV shows, she has the same taste in this and the same taste in that.
She's so cool, man.
And you guys actually decide maybe you're working on a project late after school or whatever, and you guys are actually working on it, and you found out that you had such a good time when she was a laugh and she enjoyed your company.
And then she ends up looking attractive in your eyes.
And then you start looking, at that person with that regard. But then if you guys are single, you might want to go head down the marriage route. And that would be great because you didn't base it on just beauty alone, because beauty deteriorates. But you are attracted to her for other reasons, and I think that would be a very strong bond if you were to get married. But it's a tricky one. He's given his verdict. I would perhaps second that, but it's hard to sort of commit to that in this day and age, in this environment. Because if you go out and say, "Oh yeah, I can't. You're a girl. I can't be friends with you." Just saying that sounds so weird and uncool, and you're so backward for thinking like that. I mean, that's how you are perceived in this society. You don't have to say it. Don't ever say something like that.
I mean, sometimes you feel guilty enough for not shaking a woman's hand, and then on top of that, you want to say you can't be friends.
Exactly. What do you do?
I swear,
with
sometimes there's been interviews where the woman, she tries to shake my hand, and I reject it, and those few seconds they feel like an eternity. It's like how much further down do I have to bend?
Oh my God! Wow, that was
a challenging one.
That's something. That is a challenging one, no doubt. I don't know. I just pray I don't go into that situation.
The believers are tested.
Oh, yes, they are. They certainly are challenged.
Inshallah, you passed that test.
That's the plan.
So what was your angle of bending? Was it 45 degree? Is that enough? Or do you have to go touch your toes all the way?
At that time, I was moving in slow motion,
Ah, okay. It's awkward. It is awkward. And
well, the situation will never arise where someone will come up to you and say, "Hi, do you want to be friends?" So you will never really have to say
nobody actually says that. Nobody says it.
So you will never be in a situation where you'll have to reply, "Sorry, I can't be friends because you're a woman." So you can easily find ways out of it. You never have to embarrass or be offensive to someone. There's always ways out of it. When I mentioned regarding colleagues at work or students studying together in a university, there is some friendship, of course, there is interaction, but within the boundaries of Islam, within the right criteria, everything I'm not encouraging free mixing there, I'm not encouraging any of behavior of that sort. Of course, everything you know yourself better, but everything within the right, balance.
I mean, going back to the question of telling a woman you can't be friends with her, I think in such circumstances it's okay to be lenient with definitions. So rather than just say no way, not happening, you kind of just say, okay, listen, at the end of the day, me and you, we work together, we study together, whatever it is. This is how this is how people are in the society, and I'm cool with this to an extent. But other than this, I can't do this, right?
It totally goes, it's on that person and see how they handle that situation. Like you said, if there is a colleague or somebody in uni, and let's say a girl has taken fond of you, which has happened sometimes. But I'm just joking. Now, are you single? Are you looking to mingle? Meaning, are you looking to get married? Do you feel this person is someone you can marry? Because I think you can have a good understanding, a good 60-70% understanding of whether you want to go down this route or not.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about, and I hate to cut you off, bro.
No, it's probably a good thing.
We could talk about this all night, but that's all we have time for today. So I'd like to thank you guys. Until next time.